August 20th, 2019. WeWork is worth $47 billion. More than FedEx, more than Delta Airlines, more than Spotify. The founder, Adam Neumann, is on every magazine cover. Forbes calls him a visionary. Time magazine says he's revolutionizing work. Wall Street is throwing money at him. SoftBank just invested $10 billion. WeWork is about to go public. The IPO is scheduled for September. Bankers say it'll be the biggest tech debut since Facebook. Retail investors are lined up. This is the deal of the decade. September 30th, 2019. 40 days later. WeWork is worth $8 billion. The IPO is canceled. Adam Neumann is fired. Investors have lost $39 billion on paper in 6 weeks. How do you lose $47 billion in 6 weeks? You don't. You never had it in the first place. This is the story of WeWork, the cult of Adam Neumann, and how one man convinced the smartest investors on earth that renting desks was worth more than American Airlines. I'm Cash Flow Coach, and I'm about to show you the greatest con in startup history. Let's start with the man behind it all, Adam Neumann. Born in Israel, 1979, dyslexic, struggled in school, served in the Israeli Navy, moved to New York in his mid-20s. No college degree, no tech background, no business experience. But he had something more valuable, charisma, and the ability to make people believe. 2008, financial crisis. Adam's living in New York, trying to figure out his next move. He meets Miguel McKelvey, an architect. They start talking about community, about creating spaces where people feel like they belong. They launch a company called Green Desk. It's a co-working space, shared desks, shared Wi-Fi, environmentally friendly. It works. They grow to a few locations. 2010, they sell Green Desk. Adam's already bored. He wants something bigger. He pitches Miguel on a new vision. Not just co-working, a movement, a way of life. They'll create spaces that inspire, that connect people, that change how the world works. They call it WeWork. 2010, WeWork opens its first location, Soho, Manhattan. An old building, exposed brick, industrial aesthetic, millennial catnip. The pitch is simple. Freelancers, startups, small businesses, they all need office space. But traditional leases are expensive, inflexible, boring. WeWork offers month-to-month memberships, beautiful spaces, free beer on tap, networking events, a community, and it works. The first location fills up, then the second, then the third. But here's the genius. Adam isn't selling office space, he's selling a feeling, a lifestyle, an identity. You're not renting a desk, you're joining a tribe. You're part of something bigger. You're a WeWork member. The branding is perfect. Sleek logo, Instagram-worthy interiors, events with DJs and free kombucha. It feels like a tech startup, not a real estate company. And that distinction? That's everything. Because real estate companies trade at low valuations, 5 to 10 times earnings. Boring. Slow growth. But tech companies? They trade at 50, 100 times earnings. Explosive growth. Unlimited potential. Adam decides WeWork isn't real estate. It's a technology platform, a community company, the future of work. And investors? They believe him. 2012, WeWork raises $17 million. Benchmark Capital and Joel Schreiber invest. 2014, $150 million at a $1.5 billion valuation. JP Morgan and T. Rowe Price join. 2017, $760 million at a $20 billion valuation. SoftBank and its Vision Fund go all in. 2019, SoftBank invests another $10 billion. WeWork's valuation hits $47 billion. Let me put that in perspective. WeWork, a company that rents office space, is valued higher than General Motors, FedEx, Delta Airlines, and Marriott International. Companies with decades of profits, real assets, global operations. WeWork has never made a profit. It's losing $2 billion a year. But Adam says that doesn't matter. They're growing, they're disrupting, they're changing the world. And somehow, the smartest investors on earth nod and write bigger checks. By 2019, Adam Neumann isn't just a CEO, he's a guru. He hosts company-wide events that feel like concerts. 10,000 employees chanting, Adam on stage in a t-shirt, barefoot, preaching about community and consciousness. He tells employees, "We're not a company, we're a movement. We're going to elevate the world's consciousness." He says WeWork will outlive him by centuries, that they'll have a WeWork on Mars. Employees worship him, investors idolize him. He's the next Steve Jobs, the next Elon Musk. But behind the scenes, cracks are forming. Adam's spending is out of control, private jets everywhere. He bought a $60 million Gulfstream. He's invested in everything from a wave pool company to an elementary school. He trademarked the word "we" and sold it back to WeWork for nearly $6 million. His own company. He drinks tequila in board meetings. He brings his kids to the office and makes employees babysit. He fires people on a whim. But nobody says anything, because the valuation keeps going up, and as long as the number goes up, everyone makes money. Until it doesn't. August 14, 2019. WeWork files its S-1. That's the document you submit to go public. It's supposed to convince investors to buy your stock. The world finally gets to see WeWork's financials, and they're brutal. Revenue, $1.8 billion. Sounds good. Losses, $1.9 billion. That's not good. For every dollar WeWork makes, it loses a dollar. And it's getting worse. The losses are accelerating. The more they grow, the more they lose. But here's the real problem. The S-1 reveals how the company actually works. WeWork signs long-term leases, 10, 15, 20 years. They commit to paying landlords billions of dollars over time. Then they rent out the space month to month. No long-term commitments from customers. So WeWork has massive long-term liabilities, but short-term, flexible revenue. If there's a recession and customers leave, WeWork still owes rent for years. It's the worst business model imaginable. And then people start reading the fine print. Adam Neumann owns buildings that he leases back to WeWork. He's both landlord and tenant. That's a massive conflict of interest. WeWork paid him $6 million for the trademark to the word "we." Adam's been taking billions in loans, using his WeWork stock as collateral. If the IPO fails, he's personally screwed. The corporate governance is insane. Adam has super voting shares. He controls the company completely. The board can't stop him. And buried in the S-1 is this line: "We have identified material weaknesses in our internal control over financial reporting." Translation: we don't actually know where all the money is going. Investors read this and panic. The press tears it apart. Bloomberg calls it the most ridiculous IPO of 2019. The Wall Street Journal says it's uninvestable. And the valuation starts plummeting. Investment banks told Adam they could IPO at $47 billion, then $30 billion, then $20 billion. By early September, they're saying maybe $15 billion, maybe $10. Adam refuses to accept it. He thinks they're wrong. He thinks the market doesn't understand. But the market understands perfectly. WeWork is a real estate company with terrible economics, massive losses, and a CEO with a messiah complex. Remember the question we started with? How do you lose $47 billion in 6 weeks? You convince people you're a tech company when you're really just signing bad leases. You sell a vision so compelling that investors stop looking at the numbers. But eventually, the numbers matter. And WeWork's numbers were a disaster. September 20th. WeWork's board meets. Major investors are there. SoftBank, Benchmark, JP Morgan representatives. They tell Adam, the IPO isn't happening at this valuation. We need to postpone. Adam refuses. He says they need to push forward. The market will come around. The board says no. And then they say something else. Adam, You need to step down. His spending is out of control. His conflicts of interest are indefensible. The press is destroying the company. Employees are leaking stories about his behavior. One story that leaked: Adam once brought a box of marijuana on a private jet from the US to Israel. The jet had to circle back and make an emergency landing in Canada so the marijuana could be removed. Another: he tried to ban meat from WeWork events because of environmental concerns, then was photographed eating meat at a company event. The hypocrisy, the chaos, it's too much. September 24, 2019. Adam Neumann steps down as CEO. He'll stay as chairman, but the day-to-day control is gone. The press calls it a stunning fall. 6 weeks ago, he was worth $14 billion on paper. Now, he's out. September 30th. WeWork officially withdraws its IPO. The statement says, "We have decided to postpone our offering. We want to focus on core business." Translation: nobody wants to buy our stock. The valuation is now estimated at $8 billion, down from $47 billion in January. That's an 83% collapse in 9 months. SoftBank, which invested $10 billion at a $47 billion valuation, has lost billions. Benchmark, T. Rowe Price, Fidelity, they've all lost billions. But the employees? They've lost everything. Their stock options are worthless. Thousands are about to be laid off. WeWork announces it's cutting 2,000 jobs, then 4,000. People who believed in the mission, who worked 80-hour weeks, who thought they were building something special, they're unemployed. And Adam? He walks away with a $1.7 billion exit package, cash and stock, for running the company into the ground. The backlash is immediate. Employees are furious. Investors are furious. The press is calling it one of the biggest corporate failures in history. Adam Neumann partied his way through billions of dollars of other people's money, and he's rewarded with $1 billion payout. WeWork becomes a cautionary tale, a symbol of startup excess, of Silicon Valley delusion, of what happens when charisma replaces competence. But the story doesn't end there. October 2019. New leadership takes over. Sandeep Mathrani becomes CEO in February 2020. Their job? Save the company, cut costs, renegotiate leases, get to profitability. Then COVID hits. March 2020. The world shuts down. Offices are empty. WeWork's entire business model, people coming to shared office spaces, is dead. Occupancy drops. Revenue collapses. They're still bleeding cash. But somehow they survive. They renegotiate leases. They close unprofitable locations. They cut more staff. October 2021. WeWork goes public. Not through a traditional IPO, through a SPAC merger. A backdoor way to go public. The valuation? $9 billion. Remember, this company was valued at $47 billion 2 years earlier. The stock trades under the ticker WE. It opens at $10. Within months, it's at $6, then $4, then $2. August 2023. WeWork warns it might not survive. The stock is trading at pennies. November 2023. WeWork files for bankruptcy. Chapter 11. The company that was supposed to revolutionize work, that was worth $47 billion, is bankrupt. Landlords are owed billions. Creditors are owed billions. Shareholders are wiped out. It's over. From peak to bankruptcy, 4 years. And Adam Neumann? He's fine. After leaving WeWork, he started a new company. It's called Flow. It's a real estate startup focused on apartment buildings and co-living. In 2022, Andreessen Horowitz invested $350 million in Flow at a $1 billion valuation. Adam Neumann, the man who lost $47 billion, raised $350 million for his next venture, before the company even launched. He lives in a mansion in the Hamptons. He surfs, he meditates, He's worth an estimated $2 billion. He didn't go to jail. He didn't face consequences. He got rich. So what do we learn from WeWork? First, charisma isn't a business model. Adam could sell a vision, but he couldn't run a company, and eventually, that matters. Second, venture capital is broken. Investors poured $14 billion into a company losing $2 billion a year. They didn't care about profits. They cared about growth and narrative, and that created a monster. Third, corporate governance matters. Adam had super voting shares. The board couldn't stop him. He was accountable to no one. And when one person has absolute power, disasters happen. Fourth, the emperor has no clothes. For years, people knew WeWork's economics didn't work, but nobody said it out loud, because everyone was making money, until they weren't. Fifth, in startups, you're either Uber or you're Pets.com. You're either a world-changing platform or a disaster dressed up as innovation. WeWork was Pets.com with better branding. WeWork wasn't just a company failure, it was a cultural failure. It was a reflection of a system that values storytelling over substance, growth over profitability, founders over sanity. Adam Neumann told a story so compelling that people stopped asking basic questions, like, does this business actually work? And for a while, it didn't matter, because the number kept going up. $47 billion. But that number was never real. It was a collective hallucination, a story everyone agreed to believe, until one day they didn't, and $47 billion disappeared in 6 weeks. Not because the company changed, because the story did. So here's the real lesson. Numbers don't lie, but narratives do. And in Silicon Valley, the narrative is worth more than the numbers, until it isn't. WeWork's collapse wasn't a surprise. It was inevitable. The only question was when. The answer? 6 weeks. That's all it took. If this story made you question how startups are valued, good, because the next WeWork is being built right now, with billions in funding, and nobody's asking the hard questions. Subscribe to Cash Flow Coach for more stories that expose how money really works. Drop a comment. Did you see WeWork's collapse coming? Or were you sold on the story too? I'm Cash Flow Coach. See you in the next.